All right, let's head into the papers now, see what the headlines are. Really interesting headlines across papers in Nigeria. I have with me in the studio journalist Odufowokan, as well as lawyer and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good
nice
morning.
to see you both.
Thank you.
Great. Let's begin with the Daily Times. Daily Times is where we start from this morning, and it's focusing on Imo elections. Supreme Court declares Hope Uzodinma as governor-elect and sacks Ihedioha's 8 months government. APC, PDP react. Directs Uzodinma to be sworn in immediately and reserves judgment on Kano, Benue, Plateau, Bauchi till January 20th, which should be Monday next week. All right, from the Daily Times, let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust is focusing on the same thing. Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, declares Uzodinma governor. Okay. And then the blueprint is next now. Blueprint says Mbaka's prophecy sails through. Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, Uzodinma now Imo governor, and keeps Tambuwal in suspense. It's another sad commentary. The PDP is reacting to this. And despite Zamfara, Rivers scenarios, we still have hope in judiciary. APC is saying this. Lawan Bello laud the judgment. Okay, these are all reactions from that. And then moving on to News Direct. News Direct says, why Supreme Court sacked Ihedioha, declared APC's Uzodinma winner. APC kicks, says judgment sad, PDP kicks, says judgment sad commentary on nation's democratic order. All right. From there, let's go to the Nation newspaper. And the Nation newspaper is focusing on something else. Also of importance, outrage as Federal Govt declares Amotekun illegal. States lack power over security, says AGF. And Akeredolu, laws are not made by the AGF. Okay, that's another very strong topic there. From there, let's go to The Guardian. That takes us back to the Supreme Court. How Hope Uzodinma flawed Ihedioha. The Supreme Court judges order swearing in of APC candidates. And Tambuwal, Ganduje and others no fate on Monday. Okay. Gentlemen, as much as this brings more, it brings more an entrenchment in the system that we're trying to build, talking about the Supreme Court, giving the mandate to the right person. Another issue there that a lot of people are concerned about is giving the final powers now by technically to courts to decide who becomes governor instead of INEC doing it as it's supposed to be based on all the omissions and here and there. Jide, I'd like to start with you on this. How much of a concern is this?
It should be of concern, really, because expectedly, I think the people who are the custodians of sovereignty should decide at the polls. But here we are, we proceed on to the tribunal, and we have many of these cases that even the Supreme Court has expressed being overwhelmed. But then, by virtue of the judicial system we operate in Nigeria, the Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. If it were to be before 1963, you could apply to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council of the British Empire then, which was London, established in 1833. But we became a republic in 1963. So, and we must just accept what the Supreme Court has pronounced now, and the necessary readjustments be carried out. My concern is just that to the victor, you have a term that we start running. So how do we benefit the people? Because invariably, it's all about good governance. And of course, it's a test of the electoral processes but I believe that Mr. Dare will address the political aspect of it, because the Supreme Court didn't just come to a conclusion. Yeah. They base their conclusion on observations. And that tells us again that when you feel that you have not been offered justice, you can proceed to seek justice. All right,
Dare, Imo State now joins the League of States with staggered election. That will not be conducting election within the cycle.
That has come, and we would, like Barrister said, accept it. However, let me comment on the issue of leaving the fate of elections in the hands of Supreme Court. If we continue to run the kind of elections we run in Nigeria, we may not have a choice. The Supreme Court or even the judiciary didn't ask that bring it to us.
Okay.
They didn't say compulsorily, you must end your elections with us. If we do it thoroughly and the results are acceptable to all and are seen to be fair by all, I don't think we'll recourse to the courts. But if you win, if you have a governor-elect in an election, the governor-elect winning in 280-something, with 280-something votes, 1,000 votes. In an election, we had 213 votes were cancelled. I don't think that is representative anywhere in the world. This election we are talking about, 833 units had the votes there cancelled, totaling to about 213 votes annulled by INEC.
Yeah, 388 units.
388 units,
yes.
213 votes annulled by INEC. And the Supreme Court and the judiciary over time have told us INEC lacks the power to just arbitrarily say we have annulled these votes. Because by so doing, you are denying the voters in that particular area participation in electing who should govern them. And I think that exactly is what led to this judgment. The Supreme Court is saying people voted in this area. They have rights to vote too, like others. It is just unfair and unacceptable for you to deduct their entire votes from the process and declare a winner. I think the Supreme Court feels that you should have allowed the votes to stand, allow complainants to come here or to the tribunals and say, look, these votes are not valid. Then the process of determining whether the votes are valid or not will have been carried out. But for you to remove and just constrict 213 votes or thereabout to the dustbins and then declare a winner. By the time what needs to be explained, I know how the jury works, further explanation will still come on this judgment, is the votes of other contestants in those areas too. They must have been added up.
The breakdown of all of those.
The breakdown of all this, who got what, then we will see that how, obviously, with Hope Uzodinma having 213 votes or thereabout in that area, if he had it to his initial 90-something thousand.
That's about 300, over 300,000 from
so I will expect to know what Ihedioha also got in that area. Exactly. What was added to his own and what was his
all
own.
Right.
So all this would be very
It's okay.
important.
Let's leave you here now. Thank you very much, Dario Odufowokan, for coming on the program. Jide Ologun, thank you so much.
God bless Nigeria.
It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio journalist Jide Ologun and lawyer and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, good morning. Happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
Good morning.
All right, we head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Times. Imo elections. Supreme Court declares Hope Uzodinma as governor-elect, sacks Ihedioha's 8 months government. APC PDP react. Directs Uzodinma to be sworn in immediately. Reserves judgment on Kanu, Benue, Plateau, Bauchi till January 20th. And to the front page of the Daily Trust, Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, declares Uzodinma governor. And on the front page of the Blueprint, Mbaka's prophecy sails through. Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha. Uzodinma, now Imo governor, keeps Tambuwal in suspense. It's another sad commentary, PDP. Despite Zamfara Rivers scenarios, we still have hope in judiciary, APC. Lawan Bello Lord judgment. And to the front page of News Direct, why Supreme Court sacked Ihedioha, declared APC's Uzodinma winner. PDP kicks, says judgment, sad commentary on nation's democratic order. Now on the front page of the Nation newspaper, outrage as federal government declares Amotekun illegal. States lack power over security, says AGF. Akeredolu, laws are not made by AGF. And finally, on the front page of The Guardian, how Hope Uzodinma floored Ihedioha at Supreme Court. Judges order swearing in of APC candidate Tambuwal Ganduje, no fate on Monday. All right, gentlemen, we will be looking at the story on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning, talking about Amotekun being outlawed by the federal government. And I'll start with you, Jide Ologun. Talk to us what this means, outlawing. What makes this illegal in the first place?
You know, from the position of the Attorney General, if you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, it is the exclusive prerogative of the federal government to handle security in the country. And for states to now set up their own apparatus is contrary to that. But having said that, we claim that security is everyone's business. If you look at Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. So why we are having this is because the federal government appears to have failed in securing lives and properties in Nigeria. If you look at the growing rate of crime, kidnapping, banditry around the country, which is now forcing the regions to embark on securing their people, because whether it's on the exclusive legislative list or not, the people must be secured.
Absolutely.
And perhaps why this is also peculiar is the manner in which it was launched, maybe without proper consultations, because I know that
they
in
said
Borno
they
State,
met with the National Security Advisor, who gave a go-ahead.
yes, but I mean, there are some issues that they didn't tidy, because I know that in Borno State, Governor Zulum, you know, engaged hunters with voodoo powers. They even brought in some from the foreign country, and the military profiled them. I know that in Katsina State, even the state of my president, the governor had to go talking to some repentant bandits. And so regions are trying to see how they can secure their people. I think this appears like a threat to the central government. But having said that also, there's a caveat here. I think in the nation of 4th of January 2015, the APC government promised to deliver on state policing. And when the Sultan of Sokoto led some elders of the North to the president, we're still discussing the security issues. So it's all about securing the people. And now that the federal government is saying your approach is illegal, it's not talking about the intent. It's probably talking about the way it is launched out. So I will advise the Southwest governors to now consult effectively, because they have some shaky issues that must be attended to in securing their jurisdiction.
All right, let's come to you, Dari. Is this about the intent or the approach from your point of view now that the government is declaring illegal?
The AGF was very clear in his statement. He said the agency or the
Amotekun itself
is illegal, unconstitutional. He based his position on the provisions of the Constitution. So it's both content and approach. I mean, intent and approach. He condemned both with his statement. And for me, I think we saw this coming.
Really?
It was just here last week. We're discussing Amotekun, and we warned that the governors must do everything they need to do. It's about security. It's about having something so close.
What do you think they didn't do correctly?
If truly our governors did not consult the AGF on this, it is too bad.
So consulting with the National Security Advisor is not enough?
It is not enough, because we all, even I am not a lawyer, but I know that there are what we call exclusive list and all that in our Constitution. And we know security is on the exclusive list.
Yes.
So if you must dabble into something that is on someone else's plate, it's like I want to take something from your plate, because it has become very important that I address that issue. I need to consult you. Necessity, obviously, is the mother of invention. Yes. The insecurity all over the place made it compulsory, not necessary, but compulsory for Southwest governors and other governors in other parts of the country to think about how to better secure the lives of their people. So nobody who understands what is happening in Nigeria, and nobody who has gone through or who has seen people go through what we go through as per security in Nigeria, will fault the governors for taking this move. I am not faulting them. I'm only saying, when it became necessary that you do this, and you are aware of the provision of our books, our law books, you needed to do, the governors ought to consult the AGF. We are looking at a situation whereby
so
we need
what
to
is the way forward now for the governors quickly?
Well, the way forward for the government for me is they should go back to the drawing board, look at how they can salvage what morale has actually been affected by what the AGF said. I even think the AGF ought not to have gone public with this kind of thing. Could have called the governors and have a discussion. Look, you have gone about this the wrong way. How can we correct it? But governors can still go to the drawing board. Sit down with those all stakeholders now. What can we do? We still need to secure our region.
Some are asking to go to the courts.
You know, I think also there are structures on ground that the governors can empower. For example, I know in Lagos State at the time, the government of Lagos, we empower the police, we have the vigilantes, we have, you know, different apparatus that we can empower to support in securing the people.
Gentlemen, we'll leave it here at this point. Thank you for your contribution on the newspaper review.
Let's get into the papers now, see what the headlines are this morning. I have with me in the studio Dari Odufowokan and Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, nice to see you both.
Good morning.
Great. Now, the Daily Times is where we start from this morning, and it's focusing on Imo elections. Supreme Court declares Hope Uzodinma as governor-elect, and sacks Ihedioha has 8 months government. APC PDP reacts and directs Uzodinma to be sworn in immediately. Reserves judgment on Kano, Benue, Plateau, Bauchi till January the 20th. All right, from the Daily Times, let's go to Daily Trust. Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, declares Uzodinma governor. That's the story on the Daily Trust. And from there, let's go to the Blueprint. It's still focusing on the same thing, but taking it from saying Mbaka's prophecy sails through. The Blueprint says the Supreme Court sacks Ihedioha, and Uzodinma, now Imo governor, keeps Tambuwal in suspense. It's another sad commentary. That's the PDP saying this. Despite Zamfara Rivers scenarios, we will have hope in judiciary. APC is saying this, and Lawan Bello, Lord Judgment. All right, from the Blueprint, let's go to the News Direct. Why Supreme Court sacked Ihedioha, declared APC's Uzodinma winner. PDP kicks and says judgment, sad commentary on nation's democratic order. All right, and from there, let's go to the Nation newspaper now. Outrage as federal government declares Amotekun illegal and states lack power over security, says the Attorney General of the Federation. Akeredolu says laws are not made by the Attorney General. Okay. From there, let's go to the Guardian newspaper now, which is the last one. How Hope Uzodinma floored Ihedioha at Supreme Court. Judges order swearing in of APC candidate, and Tambuwal Ganduje no fate on Monday. That's what the Guardian has. Now, gentlemen, these are some of the stories on the headline, but I'd like us to go to the other issue that is very significant today, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Activities in Abuja is on, you know, the usual or the regular or the annual laying of wreath to commemorate Armed Forces Remembrance Day. On a day like this, a lot of Nigerians have had one concern or the other when it comes to the welfare and the well-being of families of fallen heroes. Dari, you want to comment on this first?
Oh, we do this every year. It has become a tradition of some sort. Apart from remembering our fallen heroes, it's also a time for us as a nation to remember the 30-month civil war that between 67 and 1970 saw millions of Nigerians losing their life. It's a time to also remember that and make up our minds again as a people that we will never allow our country drift into such confusion again. But I am bothered. Now, yeah, we still remember the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. We still commemorate it. But how serious is the commemoration now? I remember while we were growing up, or in primary school, secondary school, every pupil will have this tag on his or her shirt from like 2 weeks before the day. I mean, almost from the first day of January, you have it. Nearly will resume. It will be, and we were buying with our own money. That's how committed we were to it. We will buy it with our money and put it on our shirt.
It's a thing of pride.
It was a thing of, it was. It's no longer, I don't see, because for weeks now I've been on the lookout. You don't find that among students or pupils anymore. Then today, I've been on social media. Just check and tell me, is it trending? Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Is it trending on the social media today?
All right.
It is not.
No, maybe it was drowned by the Supreme Court judgment yesterday
last year,
and the Amotekun.
No, last year did it trend? The answer is no.
Okay.
The year before, no.
All right.
That's to tell us that gradually, perhaps this is one of the fallout of our refusal to continue to teach history in our schools.
But history is back now anyway.
Well, it's yet to really take its...
okay, Jide, Armed Forces Remembrance Day, do we really, or are we really remembering the armed forces?
Yeah, let me start by saying that we are remembering the day, but not those who were engaged.
Made the day happen.
Exactly, and we talk about the veterans. They have been grossly abandoned. Let me use that expression, and it's quite sad. And it reflects our attitude to managing people. But should that be troubling? Yes. More troubling is the fact that even those who are engaged now in some parts of the country in the undisclosed war we have in insurgency are complaining that they are not well catered for despite the huge budget. So it comes back to the main essence of governance, which is the development of the people. All right, because when I was monitoring the lamentations of the veterans who have been abandoned, their wives and things like that, I asked myself, even when those who are in service now are not well taken care of, where will there be the moral provision, the conscientious provision?
For those of them who are not in the face of government
right now. It touches on our patriotism, like Mr. Dare said. So people are getting disconnected from patriotism. Because it's easy to say, think more of what you can do for your nation. Some have done that. And it's like practically they are not getting much back from the nation. So I think we need to go back and realize that the concept of this world is all about people. So while we are remembering the days, can we begin to make those corrections? Those who fought the war, are they proud today to have been part of it? If they are given a second opportunity, will they defend
want to die for the country?
Integrity of the nation? And again, why some have said we don't need wars again, but I appreciate the fact that a key player then, General Gowon, a military head of state, then is now warning the leaders that they should not joke with the security fabric of the nation.
Right.
While we are saying we don't want another war, but I am saying now that right now we need to look at how to empower this nation economically and destroy the foundation of insecurity.
Certainly, those who have been to wars, either the Second World War or the Civil War, have said, if you know what goes on, nobody will talk about anything war. You know, especially when young stars who have a lot of blood and energy are talking about different rhetorics and all of that. Now, Dari, when it comes to entrenching the value system of remembering heroes, in the United States, for instance, if you're going to, board a plane and they're calling for boarding, the veterans are one of the first you call anytime, anywhere within the United States. If you go to the bank and there's any kind of queue,
public
transport, there's a room for veterans. Veterans are called and are given priority first as a way of appreciating them on a daily basis. Can Nigeria do anything in that regard beyond the one-day remembrance or commemoration like this?
The question is not if we can.
Okay.
The issue is if we do, it will really go a long way in not just making our veterans feel happy, but encouraging patriotism.
Yeah.
Because
it's one way of appreciating them.
When you appreciate those who did it in the past, you will encourage new people to also, aspire to be like them. We have them all over the places. Many of them are today beggars on our streets people were maimed fighting for this country. Beyond the civil war, there have been disturbances in this country. There have been police officers who, while in the line of duties, got shot by armed robbers or other criminals. There have been soldiers who were involved in accidents, road accidents, while on duty, and they are maimed. There are widows of some of those people all over the place, not being taken care of. So if we have a system that will give them some preferences, we have public transportations. If it becomes norms that when we are there and they get there, we give them the first right of way. If it is now mandatory or it is now advised that when you get to the ATM and you find a veteran on the queue, all of us should have our voice and say, oh, sir, take your turn first ahead of us. It will make these people live longer. And to encourage the younger generations to...
But isn't it even the issue of value? Because I remember even growing up, if you are on a queue or you're standing somewhere and an elder comes in, whether he's a veteran or not, you stand up and give the seat to the elder. Those are the kind of values we had as a people.
If you want to find out whether it's of a value or not, take a trip in the BRT and you find a teenager sitting down and an old man with a walking stick standing up. In those days, they will tell you, if you don't know, you should do it. Fellow passenger will tell you, young man, stand up. But you dare not tell these young ones who...
They will say, I paid and he paid. What's your business?
And we also need to celebrate our history. You know, I visited the Vietnam Veterans Monument in Washington, and you see, tourists coming, Abraham Lincoln. So, but some attempted to step aside the history of this nation. And if you don't know where you are coming from, it should be a difficult thing connecting with innovations in the future. Let's celebrate people and let's bring back the culture of caring.
And value. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dario Odufowokan, for coming on the program. Jide Ologun, thank you so much.
God bless Nigeria.